So this video is to help you with domain and range. Domain starts with D, and range starts with R, and D comes before R alphabetically, as does X and Y. So the domain refers to all the X values in a graph, and the range refers to all the Y values in a graph. And whenever you have your numbers, the smaller number always comes first and the larger number comes second. So the left number is going to come first and the right number is going to come second. In the range, the bottom number is going to come first and then the top number is going to come second. So here are some examples from Delta Math. If you notice the two graphs, this graph here has an open circle, and then all the other circles are closed circles. Every point along the graph is a closed circle except for this one here, that is an open circle. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to figure out, in both of these cases, the domain of the graph. So the domain again goes from the smallest x to the largest x, or the one on the left to the one on the right. So if you notice here, the number on the left is -10, and the one on the right is +3. So the domain is going from -10 to +3, comma 3. Now the difference is open circle versus closed circle. Open circle requires a parenthesis, and then a closed circle, which means equals to, is a bracket. So right here in Delta Math, you would need to make sure on the left-hand side for this example should be a parenthesis, and on the right-hand side you would need to change this to be a bracket. A little hint for what that means is that a bracket kind of looks like it's an equal sign, and if it's a closed circle, the graph can equal that number. So let's look at this next example. The number furthest on the left is -12, and the number furthest to the right is at +4. Because they both have closed circles, we're going to have brackets on both. Okay. Now we move to the range. So when you get your Delta Math, you have to pay attention to what the question is asking. So the range is the Y values. So we have to go from bottom to top. Okay, so it's bottom, comma, top, or the highest number. All right. Now, if you look at this graph here on the left, if you work your way through, the bottom of the graph is right here at -6. The top of the graph goes through right up here, and that Y value is actually 0. So for this left one, it's going from -6, which is the bottom, to 0, which is the top. Okay. Now, you have to realize with this graph that it is equaling -6. This open circle that is here has nothing, it does not involve the bottom. So the graph does hit -6 and it does hit 0. So we actually need brackets on both of these. Okay. The range for this second one looks like the bottom number is -9 and the top number is +6. So it's going from -9 to +6. And again, the graph does equal both of these numbers, so we would need to change to brackets. So that is the range for this graph. So here's one last example of domain and range. So this one is asking for domain, this one's asking for range. So the domain again is going from left to right. So it's going from -12 to +9, and closed circles on both, so those are brackets. And then the range for this one, the bottom number is here at -12, and the top number is at 8. But as you can see here, so we go from -12 to 8. The -12 has a closed circle, so that is a bracket, and the +8, because that is the highest number, it's going to have a parenthesis because it is an open circle. So I hope this was helpful. Go back and try homework number 5 and work on the visual domain and range. And if you have issues, please email me.